We're back. And once again, I like to say welcome to our viewers from Area 58 Community Access Center, serving the areas of Carver, Halifax, and Plimpton, Massachusetts. So we've gone from Battle Creek, Michigan, YouTube as well, which is worldwide, on to Massachusetts. So I'd like to thank Great Ricky and all his minions out at Area 58 Community Center. And now let's get to the whole Battle Royal Part 2.
Yeah, round two.
Round 2.
Definitely.
Yeah, our second episode featuring these Justice League, Suicide Squad, and another Battle Royal, continuous Battle Royal. It's like a Royal Rumble. We've had entries number 15 through 16. Now let's get to the big entry number 17. And let's go with Justice League versus Suicide Squad number 4. Justice League versus Suicide Squad Part 4. With Justice League versus Suicide Squad number 4, we get the obligatory, they fight, they make up, and now they're on the same side fighting a greater menace in Max Lord and the Suicide Squad originals. Okay, this is getting crazier and crazier by the moment. What's going on here, Josh?
Yeah. It's sort of the obligatory, all the teams have to make peace at some point. And this one, it was really enjoyable to see because you see like the Flash and Captain Boomerang are sort of butting around.
Yes.
Boomerang's about to get killed. Flash saves him, says, "Hey, don't worry, I won't tell all the other rogues." We see Harley's trying to be Wonder Woman's best friend in the entire world.
Yes.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman's not super keen on that. And Batman and Deadshot just, they fare pretty well against Lobo, which is saying something. It's Lobo.
Yeah, it was Batman, Deadshot, and it was also Amanda Waller that was working together. And we've seen that team up kind of before in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. And it was funny when she made a crack of, I don't even have a one of those brain bombs, but you still end up working for me. But yeah, of all the people that they get Lobo.
Yeah.
Whoa. They talk about a mismatch.
Yeah, yikes. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Enchanted Empress, it was paired off against kind of the Green Lanterns. So each one of them they were all going at different things. And Dr. Polarius was Cyborg.
Yep.
And
Cyborg, Aquaman, Killer Croc, and El Diablo.
Yep.
So apparently he was big enough to get 4 of them all at once.
Where was Superman at during all this?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because I don't recall him doing much then. We're going to have to look that, because I've read this issue a few times, and I don't recall Superman being fighting against anyone.
Yeah, he has his little showdown with Max Lord at the beginning.
Right.
When they're talking at the beginning, unless he was fighting Johnny Sorrow's minions, too. Might have been. I bet he was. Because that was a lot of panels of tentacles and stuff. We could easily lose Superman in that mix.
We find, and then Max Lord is just using that for a distraction. Really, his game plan was to infiltrate the prison, Belle Reve prison, and use that original Suicide Squad as a distraction. And their distraction is going down to this hidden item that's bolted down, hidden, and he does come across Killer Frost, but he's able to manipulate her. It took a lot out of him to manipulate her, but when he does, they go down to the prison vault, and he gets control of an artifact that I don't think we've seen it in the New 52, but we've seen it plenty in the pre-Flashpoint universe, and it's called the Eclipso Diamond.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the Eclipso Diamond, because honestly, I'm not a big fan of Eclipso, but the entity does a lot of damage and caused a lot of damage in the DC universe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the diamond goes back to Silver Age DC. An archaeologist finds it in a tomb. He holds it up to the light. It burns sort of the outline of the shadow onto his face, and he becomes the supervillain Eclipso. In modern times, it's more associated with sort of mind controlling everyone in your path. And they all get the sort of the half mark of Eclipso on their face. And there have been there was another different guy in the 90s who was Eclipso. Probably more famously was the Atom's ex-wife, Jean Loring. After Identity Crisis, she became Eclipso. for a while. Like you said, I don't think it was in New 52.
No.
And now we have Max Lord as the new
Yes.
Eclipso, and he promptly enslaves the Justice League.
Which was I think his game plan all along.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to enslave the Justice League so he could control them, which helped him, but defeated Darkseid during the Darkseid War, and ended up costing him his position within the government as the government I don't want to say oversee, but protector.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to will his control over the world, he's going to use the Justice League, which defeated him. He didn't want the Suicide Squad at all. He just said, nah, forget you.
Yeah.
So we see that the other Suicide Squad, they're defeated because they're gone. And now it's going to be Suicide Squad versus Maxwell Lord's Eclipso-controlled Justice League.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we went from fighting to making up to teaming up, and now we're back to fighting again.
Yes. A couple things I want to point out on this issue was we did see the Enchanted Empress, right?
Emerald Empress.
Empress. She makes a mention of Saturn Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And the Green Lanterns say, who's Saturn Girl? Superman says, that's something that we're going to find out for another time.
Mm-hmm.
And we see in the caption that that story arc is going to continue in the Supergirl.
Yep. And of course, that Superman knows Saturn
Yes.
Girl because he's met the Legion in his time frame. So, yeah, he's withholding a bit of information
Yeah,
from
because
them.
when she said Saturn Girl, it was Saturn Girl.
Yeah.
So, again, we get to see more of that DC Rebirth overarching mystery coming to light with the future Legionnaires. And
It's
because she
also-
also said the future, and he goes, the future, he knows something about that. Like you were saying.
Yeah, it's also cool, too, because they also mentioned that, the Emerald Eye of Ekron is tied to the Green Lantern somehow.
Yep.
It's the same kind of energy, and it doesn't fire on Jessica Cruz. She just kind of stares it in the eye just kind of stares back at her.
Right.
It's just that weird little moment.
And Lobo. I guess there was only one way to take him down. Is he truly down and out, though?
Yeah, poor Lobo.
Right, yeah.
I mean, to put a brain bomb in his head and pull the trigger, it makes you wonder. I'm assuming he'll be back.
Right.
I mean, he's got obviously quite a healing factor. And it would certainly make the fans upset if they were so upset over New 52 Lobo.
Yeah, we get the
to bring back the
other
original
Lobo.
and then blow his head up.
Boom.
Yeah.
We're going to see next issue, Justice League versus Suicide Squad number 5. We're going to see the fight between the squad and Maxwell Lord's Eclipso-controlled Justice League. Say that
let's
5 times.
Let's just call him the Eclipso League.
Yes, the
That
Eclipso
point,
League.
Yeah.
This issue was another big fight issue, but it had some very good tidbits of character development in it in further storyline arcs. I suggest a good read there. Let's talk now Suicide Squad number 9 and the first and last mission of Suicide Zero. We get a backstory for Suicide Squad number 9, the original Suicide Squad or Suicide Zero. We see how they come together and pretty much how they fall apart.
Yeah, which didn't take long.
No.
Yeah. This is it was an interesting backstory because they're sent to a rogue Asian nation which has created their own metahuman team called the Jangsun Gods. And the Suicide Squad, Suicide Zero, is sent there to eliminate the Jangsun Gods and get this rogue state under control. And when they get there, of course, they start killing the Jangsun Gods, and as it turns out, the Jangsun Gods are linked to the population.
I thought that was a nice plot point. Not nice, but like, all right, there's some casualties that can be involved. Amanda Waller says, abort. No, not these. These are really, you see how evil these characters are, and you see just why they're locked up, and you see why they hate Amanda Waller so much. They were manipulated the whole time, but they are truly evil.
Yeah, like Johnny Sorrow knew that was going to happen. He sensed it the minute they landed. He didn't mention it because he's Johnny Sorrow. As they say in the comic, he's crazier than a bag of undead snakes or something like that.
Okay.
So he's sounds a little nice.
Yep.
And the others aren't in any rush to stop killing people.
No,
I mean,
except
Lobo's not going to stop.
Except Rustan.
Yeah, who's the only one who has any real I mean, he's the handler. He's he's the Rick Flag of this team, and he's not as willing to kill everyone. So eventually they discover that there's the God engine is powering them, and it's using it's using the mental energy of the population to turn them into gods.
Yeah.
Which I didn't entirely understand, and they only explained it in kind of vague.
Basically, they're feeding the life force. The life
Yeah.
force of the citizens was powering, fueling the God engine, and allowing them to create these gods out of kind of like vessels. And then the Suicide Squad, Cyclotron, who we don't see in any of these Justice League vs. Suicide Squad for good reason here in a moment, we'll tell you.
Yeah.
He says, well, hey, why don't we just use this power on ourselves?
Yeah.
But that means enslaving the population. Well, we could be gods themselves. And oh, great. Here we go.
Yeah.
Amanda Waller's saying, stop, don't do it. The other ones are, no, we're going to do it. And Rostan says, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Amanda Waller says, Lobo, yes, I'll double your salary. Okay. Kill Cyclotron. Okay. Why does he do that? Well, because Cyclotron is a living bomb.
Yeah.
And if she can't get this squad under control, she's going to have an acceptable loss of the squad. And boom, it blows up. We find out that pretty much wipes out that whole city. And somehow the squad survived. Ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I do find it a little too coincidental that Cyclotron is put on the team as the failsafe. I mean, he's the equivalent of the brain bombs in the modern Suicide Squad, and yet he's also the one who talks the villains into using the God engine. And you just kind of have to wonder if Amanda Waller put him on that team as a bomb, would she also know that he would talk them into that?
I don't think she would.
I don't know. I mean, because the way I saw it, it almost felt more like that was sort of an experiment on her end.
It was,
just to see what it would be like to have them.
I do agree. It was an experiment, and if they would have continued doing well, she would have kept using them. But she put that back up just in case, and she knew that all she had to do was turn Lobo onto him. But unfortunately, I think the innocent victim in all this, besides the population, was Rostan.
Yeah.
He was just guilty by association because he knew too much.
Yeah, sucks to be Rostan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was too bad because he seemed like a noble character. Just doing what he was told. He wasn't a villain. He wasn't anything. He wasn't in league with them. He just was the one assigned to control him. He could not control him, so now he's grouped with them.
And really the only thing he could be blamed for is that he was actually aware of what Cyclotron was.
Yep.
You know, his true nature, which wasn't revealed until, of course, Lobo got Cyclotron, and then Rustam says, oh, no, "What are you doing? You know, that's not good."
Yep.
So and he's about to get ripped apart by the other villains, right when Cyclotron explodes. So you do have to wonder what happened in prison to make them sort of overlook that. I mean, I'm sure it's the hatred of Amanda Waller, but yeah, poor Rustam, and that kind of made me want to see Rustam face off with Waller in Justice League vs. Suicide Squad.
And we still might get that.
Yeah, because we see him, I mean, he meets Rick Flag real briefly, and Flag says, hey, don't do it, look, I'm their handler now. You know, I mean, sort of implies Waller keeps putting innocence into this, and Rustam says, well, then I need to kill you because I need to save you from that fate.
And then we do have a nice cool, and forgot to mention this, we had the cool sword battle with him and Katana.
Yeah, yeah.
And he knew about her blade and
Soul Taker.
Soul Taker. It was pretty cool. I did like this issue because it gave us some backstory of the first and only time of Suicide Zero and Amanda Waller, of what she does have humanity when it comes to the citizens' innocence, but there's no risk that she's willing to take on her end to ensure that the job gets done or the mission is covered up.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of good. It's a good character development for the original team.
Yep.
Because when you see that in Justice League vs. Suicide Squad, that's a very strange assortment of villains. And I kind of sat there and scratched my head and said, okay, that's weird. And then when you see them in this, you get a nice picture of what that team looked like.
Yes.
Yeah, with Lobo kind of doing his own thing, and Johnny Sorrow in the Emerald Empress, and Dr. Polaris wanting to have those aspirations of being a villain, and Rustam and Cyclotron sort of just being shoved into the mix. it was a nice team. I sort of wish we could see more of that.
Right.
But I guess it is the first and last mission. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well. We'll just have to make do.
A good tie-in issue.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And that wraps up this discussion of Comic Book Cove this week. Any thoughts on what we might see in the future from the Suicide Squad, the Rangers, the Titans, Batwoman?
Well, it looks like we're still... I mean, one crossover is in the middle of, the obligatory first fight, the first meeting fight. And then the other crossover is in the middle of the less obligatory second fight.
Yep.
When they've already made amends and now they have to fight again. Very interesting crossovers. And a lot of other really good titles.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you have any questions or any feedback on any of the titles we discussed or haven't discussed or want us to discuss, drop us a line at our Facebook and our YouTube site, Delve Into the Void. And once again, thank you for tuning in to our new viewers from Area 58 Community Television and the great Ricky and all his minions. So, for this episode, I'm Tom Morris.
And I'm Josh Holderbaum.
And this is Lady Margot Elise. And we'll see you in the next episode of Comic Book Cove.